I didn't tell you at the time, but I had an abortion. I didn't want you to be angry.
Angry?
Claire, I'm not just angry, I'm devastated.
She smiled, but it wasn't her usual spark. I know, it's exciting, she said, but her eyes flicked to the phone on the counter. I frowned. Everything okay? I'm fine, she said too quickly, spinning away. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to soak in the warmth of our little apartment, the smell of her perfume lingering on the couch, the excitement buzzing in the air. My job at the marketing firm was stable, my friends were loyal, and I had Claire. That should have been enough. Hey Ryan, you're late again, Jake said later that morning when I grabbed coffee. Everything good at home? Yeah, I lied, forcing a grin. Claire's just tired. Jake raised an eyebrow. You sure? You guys okay? I said we're fine. I snapped, more defensively than I intended. It wasn't her fault, I told myself. She's just stressed. Pregnancy does that. Still, I noticed the little things, her laughter a beat too delayed, the way she'd check her phone whenever I got too close. Claire, can we talk tonight? I asked that evening, sliding into the couch beside her. She nodded but avoided my eyes, fiddling with her bracelet. About what? About us. About everything. My voice was heavier than I meant it to be. She sighed, finally looking at me. Ryan, I need to tell you something. I felt my chest tighten. Okay. She swallowed, staring at her hands. I didn't tell you at the time, but I had an abortion. The words hit me like a freight train. My stomach turned, my knees threatened to buckle. What? I barely managed to choke out. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought it was the best choice. You didn't think? Claire, we were going to have a baby. Our baby. My voice cracked despite my effort to stay calm. I know, she whispered, tears welling up. I couldn't. I wasn't ready. I made a mistake. My hand shook. You made a mistake? A mistake that you didn't even tell me about? I didn't want you to be angry. Angry? Claire, I'm not just angry. My throat tightened. I couldn't find words. I wanted to scream, hit something, anything. I'm devastated. I didn't want to lose you, she said, her voice breaking. I still love you. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. Love? Is that what this is? You lied. You kept something this big from me. You decided without me. That's not love, Claire. That's betrayal. Her tears fell freely now. I was scared. I thought you'd hate me. I didn't know what to do. You think fear excuses this? My chest heaved, every word tasting like ash. You think fear makes this okay? I didn't know how to tell you. I panicked. I ran my hands through my hair, pacing the tiny living room. Panicked? Claire, this isn't about being scared. This is about trust. You destroyed my trust. I didn't mean to, she sobbed. I was selfish, but I didn't mean to hurt you. Selfish doesn't even start to cover it. I shouted, my voice echoing off the walls. We were supposed to build a life together. And you just erased part of it without me knowing. Without us knowing. She flinched at my words, but I couldn't stop. I needed her to understand the depth of my pain. Do you even realize what you've done to me? How much this changes everything? She tried to speak, but the tears choked her. I sank onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. The room felt smaller, suffocating. The life I thought I had vanished in a heartbeat. I can't even look at you right now. I'm sorry, she whispered again. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to leave. I wanted to scream until my lungs gave out. But most of all, I wanted to understand why. Why she chose someone else's idea of love over ours. Why she could make a decision like that without me. And deep down, I realized that nothing would ever be the same again. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling and kept hearing Claire's voice. I had an abortion. The words replayed until my chest felt hollow. I whispered into the dark, this isn't real. This can't be real. Morning came too fast. Claire stood in the kitchen making coffee like nothing had happened. The smell made me sick. Ryan, Claire said softly, you didn't say good morning? I laughed, sharp and broken. You erased my child and you want a greeting? Claire set the mug down. I already said I'm sorry. That word means nothing, I said. Tell me why. I already did. No, I said, stepping closer. You didn't? You said you were scared. That's not a reason. Tell me the truth. Claire crossed her arms. The truth is I did what I had to do. For who? For me. My hand shook. What about me? You would have talked me out of it, Claire said. I knew that. Because it was our baby, I said. I wasn't ready, Claire replied. And there was someone else in my heart. I felt like I'd been stabbed. Who? She didn't answer. Who, Claire? Her jaw tightened. Someone I loved before you. I whispered, you did this for him? Claire met my eyes. I did it for the love I couldn't resist. I stepped back. So my child died because of your feelings. That's not fair, Claire snapped. Nothing about this is fair. I shouted. You didn't even give me a choice. Claire's voice hardened. I didn't owe you that. I stared at her. You were my wife. And I'm still me, Claire said. I won't apologize for protecting my heart. I felt something break. You don't even care. I care, Claire said. I just care about myself more. I nodded slowly. At least you're honest now. Silence filled the room. I whispered, was he worth it? Claire hesitated. Yes. I walked out before I shattered. The sidewalk was cold under my shoes. My phone buzzed. Jake's name flashed. Ryan. Jake said. You sound like hell. Can you meet me? I asked. Now? Yes. We sat in Jake's truck. I told him everything. Every word burned. Jake slammed the steering wheel. She did what? She killed my baby, I said. That's not something you come back from, Jake said. You need to leave. I don't even know who she is, I said. She showed you, Jake replied. And you're still standing next to her. I loved her, I whispered. I know, Jake said. That's why this hurts. But love doesn't survive betrayal. I stared at the windshield. She said she did it for a love she couldn't resist. Jake's jaw tightened. Then you were never first. The truth sank like poison. Ryan, Jake said, this doesn't end well if you stay. I don't want to be alone. You already are, Jake said. She made sure of that. I went back to the apartment. Claire was folding laundry. Where were you? She asked. With someone who still knows what loyalty means. Claire's eyes narrowed. I won't be judged in my own home. It's not your home anymore, I said. Her hands froze. What does that mean? It means I'm done pretending this is normal, I said. You can't just leave, Claire said. I already did, I replied. You think running fixes this? No, I said. But staying breaks me. Claire scoffed. You're being dramatic. Dramatic is choosing another man over your husband and your child, I said. She stood. I don't regret my decision. That was the moment something dark and quiet formed inside me. I will, I said. Claire blinked. What? One day, I said, you will regret this. She shook her head. You're weak. I stepped closer. I'm awake. You think you're better than me? No, I said. I think I finally see you. Claire grabbed her keys. I'm leaving. Do that, I said. She paused at the door. You won't survive without me. I answered, watch me. The door slammed. I sat on the couch where we planned our future. My phone buzzed. Jake again. You okay? He asked. No, I said. But I will be. Good, Jake replied. Because from here on out you protect yourself. I closed my eyes. I don't want revenge. Jake was silent. I just don't want to be powerless again, I said. That's how it starts, Jake said. I opened my eyes. Then let it start. I moved out that night. No speech. No drama. Just a suitcase, my laptop, and the last photo of Claire and me that I didn't have the strength to throw away yet. When I closed the door, the silence felt louder than any fight. The new apartment smelled like fresh paint and nothing else. I sat on the floor and whispered, this is it, Ryan? This is your life now. The echo didn't answer. Days passed like broken glass. Work, sleep, repeat. No dreams. No hunger. Just the sound of my own thoughts crashing around my skull. Jake called. You alive? Barely, I said. Good. That means you can rebuild. I laughed without humor. Rebuild what? Yourself. At work, everything blurred until my manager stopped me. Ryan, meet Sophia. She's joining the team. Sophia smiled. Hi, Ryan. Hi, I said. You look tired, Sophia said. That's one word for it. Sophia handed me a coffee. Drink this. I blinked. Why? Because nobody works well while falling apart. I took it. Thanks. Sophia sat on the edge of my desk. Rough week. I hesitated. Rough life. Sophia nodded. Same. That was it. No pity. No pressure. Just understanding. Late nights came after that. My apartment stayed quiet. Sometimes I talk to the walls. You didn't see this coming, did you? I said. The walls never judged me. Jake visited once. He looked around. You need furniture. I need peace, I said. You need both. At work, Sophia started sitting with me during lunch. You don't talk much, Sophia said. I'm bad company. Sophia smiled. I disagree. I shrugged. Why sit here then? Because lonely people recognize lonely people. I looked at her. You're not wrong. Sophia leaned back. What happened? I hesitated. Then I said, my wife betrayed me. Sophia didn't gasp. She didn't interrupt. She just nodded. That's heavy, Sophia said. It crushed me. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Sophia studied me. Then start with small things. Like what? Like staying alive. Like showing up. Like choosing yourself. I swallowed. That sounds simple. It isn't, Sophia said. That's why it works. One night, I stood in my empty kitchen and whispered, I trusted Claire with everything. My voice shook. Everything. I stared at my reflection. I was stupid. Jake's words came back. Love doesn't survive betrayal. I said out loud, I gave her my whole life. The room didn't answer, but something inside me did. Said not anymore. Work became the only place where my head didn't scream. Sophia noticed. You stay late a lot, Sophia said. I don't like going home. Then don't, Sophia said. Walk. Sit somewhere new. Why do you care? Sophia smiled. Because someone should. Weeks passed. My chest stopped feeling like it was collapsing every second. The numbness faded into something steadier. Stronger. One night I said to myself, you survived today. The words felt strange but good. Sophia invited me for coffee after work. You're changing, Sophia said. I am? Yes. Less broken. More present. I exhaled. I'm trying. Sophia nodded. That's enough. I started seeing my past clearly. I saw how much I ignored. How much I forgave that I shouldn't have. How much I gave away. I whispered, I was naive. The word didn't hurt anymore. It taught. Jake called. You sound different. I am different. Good, Jake said. That's how this begins. One night, I stood on my balcony, city lights flickering. I won't let what happened define me, I said. The wind carried the promise away. I texted Jake. I'm rebuilding. Jake replied, I knew you would. At work, Sophia smiled at me across the room. I smiled back. And for the first time since everything fell apart, I believed the future was still mine. I kept seeing Claire everywhere. In reflections. In windows. In every memory that refused to die. I whispered her name once in the shower and slammed my fist against the tile. Stop, I told myself. Just stop. Jake called. You sound wrecked. I am wrecked. You're thinking about Claire again. I didn't answer. Ryan, Jake said, don't do this to yourself. I already am. I found out about Derek by accident. I was scrolling through my phone when a picture popped up. Claire at a cafe. Her hand on a man's arm. His face familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. I called Jake. Who is Derek? Jake went quiet. Where did you hear that name? So it's real. Jake exhaled. Yeah. Derek is her first love. The one she told me not to worry about. That one. I closed my eyes. She's with him. Ryan. She aborted my child for him. Jake didn't deny it. The world tilted. I whispered, I was never the choice. Later that night I said out loud, I trusted her with my life. My voice cracked. And she was giving it away while I held the door open. Memories rushed in. Claire canceling plans. Claire hiding her phone. Claire saying you're imagining things. I had believed her. I said, I was blind. Jake met me at a bar. Drink, Jake said. I don't want to feel this. You already do. I stared at the glass. She looked happy. That's what hurts. She told me I was everything. Jake shook his head. People lie when the truth costs them too much. I slammed the glass down. She lied to my face. Because she knew you'd forgive her. The words burned. I did forgive her. Jake nodded. And she kept going. I drove home shaking. I opened old messages. I read every I love you. Every always. Every promise that now meant nothing. I whispered, how many times did you choose him while I chose you? The answer echoed through me. I went for a walk. The city felt louder. Brighter. Crueler. My phone buzzed. Claire's name. I stared at it. My heart pounded. I answered. What? Ryan, Claire said, why haven't you called? I laughed. Why would I? I just wanted to check on you. You're with him. Silence. Derek, I said. You're with Derek. Claire whispered, you weren't supposed to find out. That's what hurts the most, I said. You still think you control the truth. I didn't mean to hurt you. You did. I was confused. You were selfish. Claire's voice trembled. You don't understand what Derek means to me. I understand you destroyed me for him. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, I said. You erased my child. You erased my marriage. You erased me. I didn't erase you, Claire said. I loved you. Love doesn't look like this. Claire cried. I never wanted it to end this way. You ended it the moment you chose him. Claire whispered, I'm sorry. The word landed empty. I hung up. I stood in the street breathing hard. You don't get to break me and walk away. Jake called. Did you talk to her? Yes. And I finally see everything. Jake was quiet. What are you going to do? I don't know, I said. But I won't let her destroy me. Good, Jake said. Because this path can eat you alive. I stared at the city lights. It already has. You can heal, Jake said. Or you can chase revenge. I closed my eyes. I don't want revenge. Jake paused. That's not what your voice says. My heart is on fire. That fire will burn you too. I whispered, she deserves to feel what I feel. Jake said gently, or you deserve peace. The words sat between us. That night I dreamed of Claire laughing with Derek while I stood outside in the rain. I woke up gasping. My chest ached. I sat on the bed and said, I won't beg anymore. The room didn't answer. Days passed. My anger didn't fade. It sharpened. I told Jake, I keep thinking about them. That's obsession. Maybe, I said. But it's also clarity. Jake sighed. You're walking a line. I know. And which side are you choosing? I stared at my hands. The side that makes me strong. Jake replied, strength doesn't always mean payback. But it can, I said. I stood by the window. The city below kept moving. I whispered, I loved her more than myself. Then I whispered, never again. The ghost of our love still hovered, but it no longer owned me. I wasn't healed, but I was awake. I woke up before my alarm and said, this ends today. The mirror didn't argue. At the gym, Jake laughed. Who are you and what did you do with Ryan? I'm done breaking, I said. Jake nodded. Good. Start lifting. My arms burned, my lungs screamed, but the pain felt clean. I whispered between breaths, I control this. After work, Sophia looked up from her desk. You're walking different. Good different. Focused different. I shrugged. I'm tired of feeling small. Sophia closed her laptop. Sit. I sat. Sophia said, tell me what changed. I stopped waiting for Claire's shadow to disappear. Sophia smiled. That's powerful. I hesitated. Sometimes I miss her. Sophia nodded. Of course you do. That doesn't mean you go back. I said, I don't even recognize who I was with her. Sophia said softly, who was Ryan then? Blind. Afraid. Always trying to keep the peace. And now I'm trying to keep myself. Sophia leaned closer. That's growth. Jake called that night. How was the gym? I couldn't feel my arms. Good. Pain means progress. I laughed. I'm starting to think you enjoy my suffering. Jake replied, I enjoy your comeback. Days stacked. Gym. Work. Sleep. Repeat. The fog in my head slowly lifted. One afternoon, Sophia said, lunch? Sure. Over sandwiches, Sophia asked, what did Claire take from you? I stared at the table. My trust. My future. My sense of worth. And what are you taking back? Everything. Sophia smiled. That's the answer. That night, alone in my apartment, I said, I ignored the signs. The words tasted bitter. The phone hiding. The canceled plans. The distant eyes. I whispered, I wanted the version of her I loved more than the truth. The room stayed silent. Jake came over later. You look stronger. I am. Inside too. Yes. Jake studied me. What's the plan now? Keep building. And Claire? I shook my head. She's not the center anymore. Jake raised an eyebrow. That's dangerous talk. Dangerous for who? For anyone who crosses the new you. I didn't deny it. At work, Sophia caught me staring out the window. Thinking again, Sophia said. Learning. About? Myself. Sophia nodded. What did you learn? That I gave too much without asking for enough. That's a hard lesson. But it's mine. Sophia said, you're not broken anymore. Not healed, I replied. But not broken. She smiled. That's the best place to start. At the gym I pushed harder. Sweat burned my eyes. I whispered, this is what control feels like. Jake clapped my shoulder. You're changing. I know. And it scares you. Not as much as staying the same. One night, scrolling through old photos, I stopped. Claire's smile looked foreign. I said, you don't own me anymore. I deleted the picture. The next morning, Sophia brought coffee. You look calm. I am. She tilted her head. Calm people are dangerous. Only when pushed. Sophia smiled. Good. Jake called. You still thinking about revenge? I paused. I'm thinking about justice. That line is thin. I'll walk it carefully. Jake said, just don't lose yourself. I already found myself. At work, Sophia asked, what happens if Claire comes back? I said, she won't recognize the man standing in front of her. Sophia studied me. And if she does? I won't let her in. Silence settled between us. Sophia finally said, you're ready for whatever comes. Maybe, I said. But I won't be weak again. At the gym, Jake grinned. You're starting to look dangerous. I feel dangerous. That's good. Later, alone, I whispered, if revenge comes, it will be calm, slow, and earned. The words didn't scare me. They steadied me. I stood on my balcony and looked at the city. I survived, I said. Now I choose who I become. The wind carried the promise away. When I lay down that night, my chest didn't ache. It felt solid. For the first time since everything collapsed, I wasn't chasing the past. I was building the future. And I was ready. 3 years passed before I returned. I told myself I was ready. The hometown looked the same, but I wasn't. Jake met me outside the hotel. You okay? I'm fine, I said. Jake smirked. That's a lie. I didn't argue. That night, Jake dragged me to a work mixer downtown. Music, laughter, fake smiles. I stood near the bar and said, I should have stayed in. Jake said, you didn't come all this way to hide. I took a breath. Then I saw her. Claire stood near the window, hand on her stomach. My heart slammed. Pregnant. Very pregnant. My chest burned. Jake followed my stare. Oh hell. My legs moved before my brain caught up. Claire saw me. Her face drained. Ryan. Claire, I said. She forced a smile. You're back. For work. She nodded too fast. That's good. I looked at her stomach. Congratulations. Her hand tightened. Thank you. A man stepped beside her. Tall. Familiar. Derek. Derek's jaw stiffened. Ryan. So you're Derek. Silence swallowed us. Claire said, Ryan, this is... I know, I said. The love you couldn't resist. Derek's eyes flicked away. Claire swallowed. This isn't the place. It's fine, I said. I'm just visiting. Derek forced a smile. We should talk sometime. No, I replied. We shouldn't. Claire shifted. Ryan, I hope you're doing well. I am, I said. Better than ever. That was a lie and we all knew it. Derek said, we're happy. Good for you, I said. Claire's voice trembled. We should go. Derek nodded. Yes. I stepped aside. Of course. They walked away. My hand shook. Jake whispered, you okay? No. We left the party. Outside I said, she's pregnant. Jake said, yeah. With his child. Looks that way. The street felt too loud. Later my phone buzzed. Claire. I stared. Then answered. What? I didn't expect to see you. Neither did I. Claire said, you looked different. So do you. Silence. I'm sorry, Claire whispered. For what? For everything. 3 years late. I was scared. You were always scared. I never stopped thinking about you. That makes one of us, I said. She flinched through the phone. Ryan, I never wanted to hurt you. You did. I was confused. You were selfish. She cried. I'm trying to be happy. You look terrified. Claire said, Derek is outside. Then hang up. She whispered, I hope you find peace. I ended the call. Jake said, that was fast. She hasn't changed. Jake nodded. neither have the consequences. The next day I ran into them again at a cafe. Claire froze. Derek stiffened. I said, relax. I'm just getting coffee. Claire said, Ryan, can we talk? I nodded. Outside she said, I never wanted this to hurt you. I replied, it did. She whispered, I'm sorry. I said, I don't hate you. Claire looked up. You don't? I'm just done. She touched her stomach. It's a boy. The words cut deep. I hope he's healthy. She cried. You'd be a good father. I laughed. I was. Derek stepped closer. Claire, we should go. She nodded. Goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye, Claire. They walked away. My chest tightened. That night, I stood alone on the bridge and said, I survived you. The wind answered. The storm was coming. And I was ready. I told Claire to meet me at the old cafe downtown. Private. Quiet. No distractions. She hesitated but eventually agreed. When I walked in, she was already seated, hands folded over her stomach. The sight of her made my chest tighten, but I stayed calm. Ryan, Claire said softly, voice trembling. Claire, I said, sliding into the chair across from her. Thanks for coming. Of course, she replied, eyes avoiding mine. I studied her. You look different. Claire swallowed. I don't know if I should say anything. Try me. She hesitated. I'm pregnant. I didn't flinch. My fingers tapped the table. Who? Claire bit her lip. Derek. I stared. The words hit harder than I expected. Of course. I didn't want this to happen, Claire whispered. I never wanted to hurt you. I know, I said evenly. But you did. She flinched at the edge in my voice. I regret everything, Ryan. I made a mistake. 3 years too late, I said. I know, Claire said, tears welling. I didn't realize until much later. You knew exactly what you were doing when you left, I said. Every word, every smile, every excuse you knew. Claire's hands trembled. I was scared. Scared? Scared of what? Scared of losing myself, she said. I thought you'd understand. I laughed, dry and bitter. Understand? Claire, I lived with you, loved you, trusted you. And you gave it away for him. I didn't plan for that, she said. You didn't plan for anything, I said. Except what benefited you. Claire's eyes filled. Ryan, I'm sorry. I was weak. I wanted to run. I didn't know how to face myself or my feelings or Derek. And the child? I asked, voice low. Claire looked down. It's his. I know that makes everything worse. You're right, I said. It does. She bit her lip. I know you hate me. And I deserve it. But I can't undo what's done. I leaned back. Hate is too simple. You want me to forgive, I know that. You want me to move on. I just want you to know the truth, Claire whispered. I studied her face, the way her eyes glistened in the dim cafe light. The truth is, you hurt me in ways I can't even put into words. And yet, I still remember the person I loved. Claire's lips trembled. I never stopped caring about you, Ryan. I kept my voice steady. Caring and acting are different. You chose Derek over me and over our life. You chose him instead of honesty, instead of me. Claire flinched. I know I can't change that. You can't, I said. But I can choose what comes next. And I'm thinking carefully. Claire's voice shook. Thinking about what? About everything, I said. About how to protect myself. About how to live my life without letting this destroy me. Claire's hands rested over her stomach. Ryan, please. I regret it all. Every single choice. I nodded slowly. I believe you feel regret. But I also believe you don't understand the consequences of your choices fully. I do now, she said, almost pleading. Every day. I said nothing. My thoughts raced. I could feel the fire inside me, simmering beneath a calm exterior. Revenge whispered in my mind, but I held it back. Strategy first. Control first. You seem composed, Claire said softly. I smiled faintly. Composed is survival. I wish I could fix it, she whispered. You can't, I said. Not for me. Not for us. You can only live with it. She shivered. I never meant for this to happen to you. I know, I said. But meaning doesn't erase reality. Silence fell between us. The coffee cooled. The room felt smaller, heavier, saturated with everything unspoken. I still remember us sometimes, Claire said, voice almost breaking. Me too, I admitted. The happy parts. The plans we made. The laughter. The dreams. They haunt me just as much as the betrayal does. Claire's hands clutched her stomach tighter. I wish. I shook my head. Don't. Wishing changes nothing. I'm scared, Ryan, she said. Scared for the baby, scared for myself. Then you should be, I said calmly. Life has consequences, Claire. And you are learning yours. She looked at me, eyes glossy. I want you to be happy. I really do. I studied her face, soft yet haunted. I will, I said. But it won't include you. Not anymore. Claire nodded. I understand. I stood, chest tight but controlled. Take care of yourself. And that child. She nodded silently. I will. I walked away, outside into the cold evening air. My heart burned, but I didn't falter. I whispered to myself, I survived the past. Now I control the future. The storm of emotions was far from over, but for the first time I felt steady, clear, ready. And I knew when the time came I would not be weak. I sat at my desk, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Revenge isn't about breaking them, I whispered to myself. It's about justice. Quiet. Calculated. Perfect. Jake leaned against the doorway. You're sounding dangerous. I am, I said. But controlled. Jake raised an eyebrow. Controlled, huh? That's new. I've learned, I said. Anger doesn't win. Strategy does. Sophia brought me coffee. You're up early. I never sleep well when I'm thinking. Sophia smiled. About them? Yes. About Claire and Derek. She set the coffee down. Careful, Ryan. Revenge can eat you alive. I'm not reckless, I said. I'm meticulous. That night I started gathering information. Social media, public records, old friends, everything that could show how their lives had evolved. Claire had been putting on a perfect life online. Derek too. But perfect hides cracks. Jake peeked at my screen. You're really going into this? Yes, I said. They need to see the truth eventually. Lies always crumble. Sophia said softly, remember why you're doing this. Justice, I said. Not destruction. Days passed. Every post, every photo, every subtle hint became a piece of the puzzle. I noticed Claire avoiding events she used to flaunt. Derek's constant smiles looked forced. Their curated life was cracking. Jake grinned. You're like a detective. I'm better, I said. I'm the observer who no one suspects. Sophia nodded. And you're still human. Don't let the plan make you cruel. I won't, I said. I'm careful. One evening I sent a subtle message to Claire. Friendly. Casual. Just enough for her to know I was alive, thriving. She replied quickly. Ryan, you're back? Yes, I said. Life's good. Pause. It looks like it. Yes, it really does. I hung up, feeling a small surge of satisfaction. The message was enough. Claire realized I had moved on. That subtle knowledge would gnaw at her. Jake laughed. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Only the control, I said. Not the pain. Sophia smiled. Every small victory counts. You think she suspects? Jake asked. Of what? That you're watching, noticing. Not yet, I said. But she will. I kept logs. Notes about Derek's schedule, Claire's habits, subtle lies I'd caught online. Each discovery was another brick in my strategy. Sophia warned me, Ryan, don't let it consume you. That line between justice and obsession is thin. I know, I said. And I'm on the right side of it. Jake nudged me. You sound like a chess master now. Chess is right, I said. Moves calculated, patience tested, timing perfect. Weeks later, I noticed Claire posting a picture with Derek at a new cafe. Smiles too wide, eyes too careful. I whispered, not everything can be controlled, Claire. Not forever. Jake said, you sound cold. Not cold, I said. Steady. Calm. Focused. Sophia nodded. That's the Ryan I know. The one who survives, learns, and wins without breaking himself. One night, I received a message from Claire. I saw you today. You looked happy. I smiled. Exactly what I wanted her to notice. Jake laughed. It's working. Sophia said, patience, Ryan. The small cracks will turn into openings. I know, I said. Justice doesn't need force. It only needs precision. Each morning I ran through my plan, rehearsed my calm exterior, and kept my emotions hidden. Anger existed, but it was harnessed. Every interaction, every observation was deliberate. I sent Derek a subtle LinkedIn message, purely professional. Derek's reply was stiff, careful. A small reaction. Perfect. Claire noticed too. Her eyes lingered. I could feel it even through typed words. The seeds were planted. Jake said, "You're playing the long game." "Yes," I said. "And long games are won by the patient, not the impulsive." Sophia leaned closer. "Remember, Ryan, the real victory is when you don't lose yourself." "I won't," I said. "I'm building my own life while showing them the consequences of theirs." By the end of the week, Claire's posts were less curated, Derek's smile and photos less convincing. Their perfect world was subtly unraveling. I sat back, chest tight with satisfaction. Justice is quiet. Justice is slow. Justice is perfect. Jake raised a glass. "To the master strategist." "To control," I said, smiling faintly. And for the first time in years, I felt the power of patience, of strategy, and the quiet thrill of justice in motion. I watched them from a distance, coffee in hand, pretending I was reading. Derek laughed too loud, slapping Claire's shoulder. She forced a smile, but her eyes flickered toward the street, searching, or maybe hoping I wasn't there. I whispered, noticing every flaw now. Jake leaned beside me. "You've become terrifyingly patient." "I've learned," I said. "Patience exposes weakness better than rage." Derek leaned back, smirk wide. "You're being dramatic, Claire." "I'm fine," Claire said, voice tight. I caught the tremor. "Perfect." Jake said quietly, "That satisfaction written all over your face." I didn't answer. I wasn't smiling. I was cataloging. Derek's arrogance, Claire's hesitation, the tiny cracks forming in their perfect world. Later, I noticed an old photo of them at a friend's wedding. Derek holding Claire close, laughing, unaware the camera had captured her tense fingers. I whispered, "She's never comfortable with him. She just pretends." Jake said, "You still think about the past?" "Of course," I said. "But differently now." I observed. "I don't react the way I did before." Derek's phone buzzed. He frowned and muttered, "Stupid work." Claire said, "Ignore it, Derek. Focus on us." "Us." Derek laughed. "You sound like my mom." Claire's smile faltered. I caught it. Tiny, almost invisible, but it was there. I whispered, "The cracks are showing." At home later, I touched the old baby clothes I had tucked away, still folded neatly. Memories hit hard. I whispered, "You took everything, Claire." But I survived. Jake said, "You're doing more than surviving. You're learning control." "I'm learning patience," I said. "Patience is power." Sophia had stopped by. "You've changed," she said softly. "Yes," I said. "The storm inside me has become a tool." I scrolled through social media. Claire posted another picture. Smiling, holding Derek's hand, but Derek's eyes were distant. He glanced at his phone mid-photo, ignoring Claire's gaze. I said, "The perfect life is cracking." Jake leaned closer. "Are you happy?" "Conflicted," I admitted. "Seeing karma unfold is satisfying. Seeing them falter, yes. But the pain of losing her, that lingers." Sophia touched my arm. "You're stronger now. That pain isn't weakness. It's proof of survival." I nodded. "I know." I noticed Claire's posts becoming erratic. One day she wrote, "I wish I could go back." I whispered, "Too late." Jake said, "She's regretting it, huh?" "Yes," I said. "And she knows Derek won't change. The life she wanted is crumbling quietly." I saw Derek argue with her one evening over dinner. His voice sharp, laughing at his own jokes, while Claire's smile flickered and fell. She tried to cover it, touched her stomach nervously. I whispered, "Justice isn't loud. It's subtle." Jake nodded. "And satisfying." I found myself smiling faintly at a symbolic moment. A tiny shoe Claire had left in the cafe 3 years ago, abandoned, forgotten. I held it in my hands. A reminder of what was stolen, and what I survived. Sophia said quietly, "Ryan, every crack you see is a lesson for them and for you." "I know," I said. "I'm learning more than revenge. I'm learning control, patience, and self-respect." Another night, I saw Derek's arrogance slipping further. He criticized Claire for small mistakes, raising his voice, trying to control, and she flinched. My chest tightened with bittersweet satisfaction. Jake said, "You're still human, right?" I laughed softly. "Yes. Human enough to remember the love we had. But strong enough not to fall back into it." Claire sent a message that evening, "I don't know why I feel so unsettled." I read it and whispered, "Because you're feeling what you ignored for 3 years." Jake said, "And you're enjoying that?" "I'm observing it," I said. "Careful. Patient." I'm not her enemy, I'm a mirror. Her life is reflecting back the truth she buried. Sophia nodded. A dangerous game. Yes, I said, but necessary. I closed my laptop and looked out the window. Derek's control, Claire's guilt, their fake smiles, they were all fragile now. I whispered, the cracks in their world are visible and I am calm. I am stronger. I am ready. Jake said softly, you've changed, Ryan. The man who lost a child is gone. Yes, I said. I survived. And now I watch. Patiently. And as the city lights glimmered below, I felt a quiet, steady satisfaction. This wasn't revenge yet, it was karma in motion. And I was the one holding the scale. I found Derek outside the office building, pacing near the parking lot. The streetlights cast long shadows over his tense frame. I approached slowly. Ryan, Derek said, his voice sharp but uncertain. Derek, I said, calm, measured. We need to talk. Derek stopped. About what? About everything, I said. About the lies, the manipulations, and the life you helped destroy. He laughed nervously. Life? Ryan, come on. That's harsh. I stepped closer, eyes locked on his. Not harsh. Honest. You left a trail of destruction, Derek. And it's catching up with you. He shifted, trying to appear casual. I didn't think. You didn't think, I repeated. Exactly. That's the problem. He frowned. Look, I didn't plan to hurt anyone, Claire. I didn't know she was. I cut him off. She told me everything. The lies you fed her, the promises you broke, the games you played. And now you're here, pretending innocence. Derek's jaw tightened. I didn't know would abandon everything for you? I said. You never cared about consequences. Only what you wanted. Derek swallowed. Ryan. I didn't mean. You never mean anything, I said, voice rising slightly. You take and leave. And now you're realizing there's a cost. He flinched. I am realizing it. But it's complicated. Complicated? I said. Complicated doesn't erase betrayal, Derek. Complicated doesn't fix a broken life or a lost child. He looked down, guilty. I wish I could. You can't, I said. It's too late. The damage is done. You underestimated me. Derek's eyes flicked toward the office entrance. Claire? Yes, I said. She underestimated me too. But she's learning. Slowly. And you're feeling the first consequences of your arrogance. He laughed bitterly. Consequences? You're talking like you're a hero. I'm not a hero, I said. I'm a survivor. And I see the truth. You've changed, Derek said, voice lower. You're different. Yes, I said. I've survived what you couldn't break. And now I decide what happens next. He ran a hand through his hair. Ryan. You lied, manipulated, and tried to control. Every action has weight, Derek. You're learning that now. Slowly, painfully. Derek swallowed hard. I didn't expect this. You never expected me to grow, I said. To rebuild. To survive. To watch carefully. I regret it, Derek admitted. Everything. I nodded slowly. Regret doesn't erase the past. It doesn't erase the pain. But it's a start. For you. Not for me. He looked stricken. Ryan, please. Claire. Stop, I said sharply. You can't reclaim control. You can't rewrite the story. You only feel it now. The power you thought you had is gone. He swallowed again. I didn't realize how much it would hurt. For her, for you. And that's karma, I said. Slow, deliberate. Not loud, not violent. Just truth unfolding. Derek shook his head. I never wanted this to. I know, I said. But you acted without care. Without foresight. And now you're paying. He looked down at his shoes. I was arrogant. Yes, I said. Arrogant and selfish. And the cracks are showing. Claire notices. You notice. And I am steady. Calm. Strong. He lifted his head. You're right. I underestimated you. I hope you remember that, I said. When your perfect life starts cracking. When Claire's guilt surfaces. When your lies no longer hold. Derek's shoulders slumped. I understand now. Too late. Yes, I said. Too late. And you'll feel every small consequence. I stepped back, letting the tension linger. I don't rejoice in your pain, Derek. But I observe it. Carefully. Patiently. Justice is not about cruelty. It's about balance. And balance is coming for you. He nodded slowly, defeated. Ryan. I see it now. I said quietly, good. Let it sink in. Let every choice weigh on you. The arrogance, the manipulation, the lies, it all comes back. Derek didn't speak. He only stared, chest tight, guilt heavy. I turned and walked toward the street, feeling the familiar mix of vindication and lingering pain. Jake appeared beside me. Did it go okay? He asked. Better than okay, I said. He understands. Slowly. And Claire sees me strong. Come. Unbroken. Jake nodded. That's the Ryan who survived everything. Yes, I said. And I'll continue to watch. Patiently. Carefully. Justice doesn't need noise. It only needs precision. We walked down the street together. The night was quiet, but I could feel the storm of consequences unfolding. And I knew, finally, that the first step of karma had been set in motion. For the first time in years, I felt a mix of vindication, sorrow, and power. The past would no longer dictate my future, and I would not falter. Justice, quiet and precise, had begun. Derek's world was cracking, and I was ready to watch it fall. I got a message from Claire that morning. Can we meet? I need to talk. I raised an eyebrow. She's finally breaking, I muttered to myself. Jake leaned against the doorway. Be careful, Ryan. You don't want to be too merciless. I know, I said. But I need to see it firsthand. Reality has a way of teaching lessons better than distance. When I arrived at the cafe, Claire was already there, hands shaking over her coffee cup. Her eyes were red, a subtle tremble in her lip. Ryan, she whispered. Claire, I said, sliding into the chair opposite her. You look tired. I am, she admitted. I can't sleep. I can't stop thinking about everything. Everything? I asked. All the mistakes, she said. The lies. Derek, leaving me to face it all. The baby I aborted, and the life I destroyed. I can't stop thinking about it, Ryan. I stayed silent, watching. The way her fingers traced the rim of her coffee cup, the slight quiver in her shoulder. I see, I said softly. Claire's gaze fell. I don't deserve to talk to you. I don't deserve your presence. You're right, I said. But talking is better than running from the truth. She let out a shaky laugh. I can't believe I'm crying over all of this. Emotions aren't weaknesses, Claire, I said. They're evidence you feel the consequences of your choices. I keep thinking about the past, she whispered. The photos, the little things, like that letter you left in my drawer before everything ended. I found it yesterday. I read it. And I prompted. I cried, she admitted. For us. For everything I destroyed. And I hate myself for it. I said nothing. My chest tightened, not in anger but in a strange mix of sorrow and empowerment. Jake appeared behind me in my thoughts. Stay calm, Ryan. Observe. Let her emotions teach her, not you. I nodded silently to myself. Claire, this isn't about punishing you. It's about seeing the truth. Feeling it. Owning it. I feel it, she said, voice breaking. Every day. The guilt, it's crushing me. Derek, he's gone. He left me. And You made your choices, I said. And now you face them. Alone, yes, but fully. She looked up, eyes glossy. Why do I feel like you're not angry anymore? Because I survived, I said quietly. And I realized anger doesn't teach lessons. Pain does. Understanding does. Claire swallowed. I wish I could go back. Go back. I asked softly. Even if you could, would you? Or would you make the same mistakes? She trembled. I don't know. Maybe. But I would at least understand what I lost. I nodded. And that's what matters now. Understanding, not erasing. She exhaled shakily. I feel like I'm breaking, Ryan. I can't hold myself together. Then break, I said gently. Feel it fully. Let the emotions come. Only then can you rebuild. I hate myself, she said. I loved you, Ryan. I ruined everything, and now I can't even forgive myself. You don't need my forgiveness yet, I said. You need to face yourself. Accept what you've done and understand the consequences. A silence fell. I watched her hands twist nervously, the subtle rise and fall of her chest. It's hard, she whispered. I know, I said. I felt it too. Different kind of pain but real. And it teaches you who you are. She looked up. I wanted to hurt Derek. I wanted to make him pay for leaving me, but now, I just feel emptiness. And that emptiness is your lesson, I said. You're finally realizing that manipulations and lies leave only hollow victories. She shivered. I don't know how to live with this. You start small, I said. Accept the truth. Face it daily. One step at a time. And maybe, eventually, forgiveness, first from yourself, then from others, will come. She looked at me, tears streaking her cheeks. Do you feel any of the old love for me? I hesitated, chest tightening. I remember it, I said. But I don't let it control me. Memories don't undo lessons. They remind you why you survive, why you grow, and why you choose carefully now. She exhaled. I feel lighter somehow. Just talking to you. That's the start, I said. Not the end. Claire wiped her tears. Ryan, thank you. For not hating me completely. I never hated completely, I said. I respected myself enough to leave the past behind. And I'm patient enough to let reality teach you. She nodded, chest rising and falling, still trembling. I understand. Slowly, I'm beginning to see. I smiled faintly. Good. That's all anyone can do, see the truth and face it. Jake appeared in my thoughts again. You've done well. Observe. Guide. Learn from her struggle without losing yourself. I nodded silently. I'm not lost. I'm stronger now. Claire looked at me, vulnerable and real. I wish I could fix it. You can't fix the past, I said. You can only grow from it. And that's the most powerful form of redemption. She exhaled. I will try. And I will watch, I said quietly. Not as an enemy, not as a victim, but as someone who has survived and learned. And someone who knows the value of patience, justice, and truth. She nodded, finally still, tears fading into quiet reflection. And for the first time in years, I felt a strange mix of sorrow, empowerment, and moral clarity. I whispered to myself, this is the heart of it. Pain, love, regret, and growth, all in motion. And I am steady. The letter, the memories, the abandoned dreams, they all reminded me, survival wasn't just about escaping the past. It was about understanding, observing, and emerging stronger. Claire's collapse was painful, yes, but necessary. And I was ready to witness her growth without losing myself. For the first time I felt whole. I arrived at the cafe just as Claire and Derek were leaving. The tension between them was impossible to miss. Derek's jaw was tight, eyes darting nervously, while Claire's hands shook slightly as she held her bag. I whispered to myself, this is it. The cracks have widened. Jake's voice echoed in my mind, watch. Observe. Let it unfold naturally. Derek turned abruptly, spotting me. Ryan, he said, voice tense. Derek, I said calmly, not moving. How are things? Claire froze beside him. Her eyes widened, guilt written across her face. Ryan. You look unsettled, I said softly. We're fine, Derek said too quickly. Everything's fine. I tilted my head, smiling faintly. Fine? I repeated. That doesn't look fine at all. Claire opened her mouth, but no words came. She just stared at me, chest rising and falling. She began, voice trembling. You don't need to explain, I said gently. Actions speak louder than words. Derek shifted uncomfortably. Ryan, this isn't. Not need to speak, Derek, I interrupted, tone calm but firm. I've seen enough. Your arrogance and Claire's guilt, it's obvious. Claire's lip trembled. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? I asked. The betrayal? The lies? Or the fact that you're finally realizing consequences don't wait? She looked down, swallowing hard. All of it. I nodded. Good. Recognize it fully. That's the first step. Derek's eyes narrowed. Ryan, you don't understand. I understand more than you think, I said. I understand patience, observation, and the quiet power of letting reality teach lessons. Claire looked at Derek. I can't do this anymore, she said softly. The guilt, the anger, it's consuming me. I need space. Derek's face turned red. Claire, wait. We can fix this. No, she said firmly. I can't. Not with lies and regrets weighing every step. I've realized my mistakes too late. I watched quietly, feeling a strange mix of sorrow and vindication. Their world was collapsing subtly, quietly, perfectly. Karma wasn't loud, it was precise. Jake's voice reminded me, you've grown. Observe without losing yourself. I stepped closer. Claire, I said softly, I hope this teaches you what you ignored before. Not to punish, but to awaken. Her eyes glistened. It already has. Every moment, every lie. I feel it now. Derek muttered, "Ryan, this isn't fair." "Fairness isn't guaranteed," I said. "Consequences are. And you, Derek, are feeling yours." Claire turned slightly to face me. I wish things could have been different." "I know," I said quietly. "But things are as they are. Accept it, learn from it, and move on." She nodded, a tear falling down her cheek. "I will. Slowly, but I will." I looked at Derek, whose face now mirrored defeat. "And you," I said. "Learn that manipulation and arrogance always have a cost. Not immediate, but inevitable." Derek swallowed, chest tight. "I understand. Too late, but I understand." I gave a faint, calm smile. "Good. Let the lessons sink in." Claire stepped forward, reaching out lightly. "Ryan, thank you. For not holding on to hatred completely." I shook my head. "I never did. I respected myself enough to survive, to grow, and to watch. You both will see the effects of choices soon enough." She nodded, chest rising and falling with quiet relief. I will remember that." I glanced at the cafe window, noticing an old photo I had once hidden, a symbol of the past. Ryan Mitchell, the naive man who lost so much, now reflected here, strong, composed, and patient. Sophia appeared beside me quietly. "You've changed, Ryan. Completely. Stronger, wiser." "Yes," I said, feeling it in my chest. "I've learned patience, subtlety, and that true power is calm, not rage." Claire whispered softly, "I'm sorry again, for everything." "You've apologized enough for the lesson," I said. "Now it's time to move forward." Quietly, carefully, and honestly. Derek's voice cracked. "Ryan. You've learned your limits," I said. "Your arrogance has been checked. That's enough for now." Claire glanced at Derek one last time. "Goodbye, Derek. For both our sakes." Derek didn't reply. He could only nod, chest tight, defeated, powerless. I breathed in deeply. "Finally," I whispered. "Closure." Jake said softly, "You've done well. Observe, learn, and let it be enough." I nodded silently, feeling the weight of the past lift slightly. Betrayal could not control me. Revenge, subtle and precise, had its course. And moving on was not only possible, it was necessary. Claire walked away, slower, still fragile but learning. Derek lingered briefly, a shell of arrogance lost. And I remained calm, composed, independent. I whispered to myself, this is resilience. This is growth. And this is freedom. The past, once heavy with betrayal and pain, now served as a reminder. Survival, patience, and clarity always triumph over lies and manipulation. And for the first time, I felt truly ready to live for myself, unburdened, strong, and unafraid. Karma had struck. And I had survived to witness it, steady and unbroken. The city lights reflected off the cafe glass, warm and soft, just like the quiet sense of closure settling in my chest. Ryan Mitchell had returned. And he was finally free. I woke to sunlight spilling across the apartment floor, warm and steady. For the first time in years, the quiet felt peaceful. No tension, no lurking memories of betrayal or lost trust. Just calm. Jake's message buzzed on my phone. "Coffee later? Need to see the new Ryan." I smiled. "Yeah, Jake. See you soon." Work had been steady, no drama, and I finally had room in my mind for something new, something real. Sophia's name drifted into my thoughts. Her quiet patience had been a balm. She had listened without judgment, guided without forcing. I owed her more than a simple thank you. The cafe door opened, and there she was, chest straight, a gentle smile lighting her face. "Morning, Ryan," Sophia said, voice soft. "Morning, Sophia," I said, returning the smile. "It's good to see you." "You too," she replied. "I've missed these quiet mornings." "Me too," I said, letting the words linger. We ordered coffee and sat by the window. The sun fell across the table, golden and warm, like a promise. Sophia stirred her drink slowly. "You seem lighter lately. More at peace." "I've learned a lot," I admitted. "About love, trust, betrayal, about myself." "You survived a lot," she said quietly. "And now you're thriving." I nodded. "Yes, I survived. And that survival taught me patience, understanding, and self-respect." She looked at me, eyes searching. "And love? Are you ready to trust again?" I paused, chest tightening slightly. "I think I am. Carefully, cautiously, but I feel capable of it now." Sophia smiled faintly, warmth in her chest view. "I hope you know, Ryan. I trust you too. I've seen the way you've grown. The way you observe and learn." "Thank you," I said. "That means more than you know." We talked about trivial things first, the workday ahead, small plans, but the conversation inevitably drifted to the past. I spoke quietly of Claire, of Derek, of everything I'd endured. You've carried so much, Sophia said softly. But you've never let it destroy you. No, I said. It shaped me. Made me stronger. Made me careful but willing to love again. A brief silence passed. Then she said, I'm glad you found yourself again, Ryan. Truly. I did, I said. And I owe part of that to people like you and Jake. People who stayed, who guided, who reminded me that survival isn't just physical. It's emotional and moral too. Sophia reached out lightly, brushing her fingers across my hand. Then let's make the next chapter together, Ryan. Thoughtful, honest, real. I nodded, letting her hand rest in mine. Yes, that sounds right. My phone buzzed. Jake's text, you look good, man. Coffee or beer later? I typed back, coffee sounds perfect. Outside the cafe, the city moved steadily. Life continued. And I had finally found my place within it, not as a victim, not as a man broken by betrayal, but as someone strong, capable, and aware. I thought of Claire. I had forgiven her quietly, not for her sake, but for mine. Observing her growth, her emotional reckonings, had been a lesson in empathy. She had felt the consequences of her choices, and that was enough. Derek? I smiled faintly. His arrogance and lies had unraveled. Karma had been precise, quiet, and unrelenting. Watching his downfall had reminded me of the subtle power of patience. Sophia squeezed my hand lightly. Ryan, whatever comes next, I'm here. I'll walk with you. I'd like that, I said. I think I'm ready to try again. Honestly, fully. But cautiously. She nodded, chest lifted, eyes soft but steady. Cautious love is wise love. I laughed softly, a warm, genuine sound I hadn't felt in years. I like that. Wise love. I could get used to it. Sophia smiled, her hand brushing mine again, a quiet promise of what might be. We watched people pass by outside the window, city lights beginning to shimmer in the late afternoon. Life moved forward, chaotic, unpredictable, yet beautiful in its own way. I reflected silently. Life was fragile, unpredictable, full of twists. Betrayal could strike at any time, but it didn't define me. Revenge could be measured, subtle, satisfying, but only when necessary. And love could heal, cautiously, thoughtfully, if given to the right person. Jake joined us finally, carrying 2 coffees. So, new beginnings? He said, chest straight, a grin on his face. Yes, I said. New beginnings. Jake clapped me on the shoulder. You've earned it, Ryan. Truly. I nodded, sipping my coffee, feeling the warmth spread across my chest. I have, I said. Sophia looked at me, eyes soft. And you'll continue to grow, right? Yes, I said. Stronger, wiser, more aware. I've survived the worst, and now I can thrive. The city moved around us, unknowing, alive. And I finally felt that I had a place in it. Not a place shaped by pain or betrayal, but a place built by resilience, patience, and clarity. Claire's past was behind me. Derek's arrogance had collapsed. Karma had been precise. And I, Ryan Mitchell, was ready to embrace life fully with open eyes and an open heart. Sophia squeezed my hand again. To new beginnings, Ryan. To new beginnings, I said, voice firm, calm, and filled with quiet hope. And for the first time in years, I truly believed it. Life could surprise me, challenge me, and even hurt me, but I was ready. The past had taught me well. The future was mine. And I was finally free.